Lace up your skates, fasten your chin strap, hit the ice, drop the puck. The Johnstown Tomahawks present Hawkey Central. Now here's your host, Troy Roberts. Happy New Year, everyone. Welcome to the first show of 2017. This is Hawkey Central. Your Johnstown Tomahawks ended 2016 on a bang. 2 wins against Alaska Fairbanks, a 5-1 victory on Friday night, then a 3-0 victory on New Year's Eve. What a crowd it was. 3,700 fans at the War Memorial on New Year's Eve for that event. Great turnout. Going to get right to it. I have a great show in store for you today. I have Coach Letizia talking about last weekend and about hockey in general. And then I have a special guest. Adam Pilewicz is going to join the show. He's a defensive man from the Johnstown Tomahawks. He actually leads all of the Tomahawk defenders with 17 points. So we're going to get right to it. Hope you enjoy the show today.
It is always with great pleasure that I welcome in Coach Letizia. Coach, the new year started off with a bang with the Johnstown Tomahawks. 2 big wins over the weekend. We're going to talk about that in a little bit. Before we get into hockey, though, New Year's resolutions. Coach, what is your resolution?
I would probably have to say, I don't know. I don't really have a specific one, I guess. One of the things I guess I just wanted to do better is just, it was actually something that I told the guys before the game on Friday. One of our keys to the game was control the controllables. Things you can control. So I think for me, that's something I just want to make sure I do better at. Is some things are out of your control sometimes, and if you get all worked up about them, you start getting off track. So I just want to control things I can control, and and that's, I guess, for a hockey standpoint, that would be one of them that I would say that, and I think that's a big message we want to talk to our guys about too. So I think that'll be a small resolution. Everybody wants to say they want to get in better shape, and I'd love to do that too if I could.
You and me both, Coach. You and me both.
I think that's a pretty general answer, so I went with, just control the controllables a little bit.
I like that one, though. I think not only from a hockey sense, I think from a life standpoint that there's only certain things we can control, but we can do better. Probably all of us do better at that. Coach, my New Year's resolution is to get down to the games on Friday and Saturday night, because I have not been down there yet this year. So that is my New Year's resolution. Since Mike called me out last week, my resolution is to get down there as quick as I can, and I filled you in, and I didn't tell the fans yet because I want to keep it a surprise, but I told you what I'm going to do when I show up. So we got something special for Hawkey Central. But, Coach, hockey-wise, with the new year, also brings the Winter Classic in the NHL. You and I were talking about it. I love the game, and so I want to get your thoughts. You like the game, dislike the game, think there should be more of it, get rid of it? What are your thoughts on the NHL and the outdoor game?
I love it. It's one of those things where, to us and all the hockey fans, we love the game. We'll watch a lot of games anytime we can, but sometimes the whole national audience, hockey sometimes gets lost. And, right around this time, you have all the bowl games going on. You have obviously the finish to the NFL regular season, preparation for playoffs. So I think with the outdoor game and the spectacle it gets that limelight, quite a bit. And I think, this year having 2 outdoor games back-to-back, where they had the Centennial Classic in Toronto against Detroit, and they had the Chicago-St. Louis game on for their standard Winter Classic. And I thought, obviously it was a tough one for Chicago losing there to St. Louis, but I thought that Toronto-Detroit game was an instant classic, and I don't think the NHL could have scripted it any better. You have a game that was 4-1 with about 7 minutes left or so. Toronto was leading, and then Detroit scores 3 goals to tie it up, 2 in the last, I think it was, minute and 45 seconds. One of the guys tied it up about a second left. And then Austin Matthews wins in overtime, the number 1 overall pick. So, you really couldn't script it any better. And I think, for those who were watching it that night, the casual hockey fan, the non-hockey fan, you got to see what it's all about, and that 3-on-3 was awesome. So there's a lot of things. It really shines a big light on the NHL. I think it should be. I'd love to see all the cities be able to host it. There's some teams, obviously Chicago, the Pens were in a few times. Washington. It's a few of the same teams, and those are big market teams, and those are teams where fans, want to see their superstars that are on those teams and be in the forefront. But, I'd love to see everybody get a chance to host it because, it's pretty magical. I was fortunate. I went to the first one that Chicago hosted. I know obviously Pittsburgh and Buffalo played in the first ever one, but then Chicago was in it the next year, and they hosted it at Wrigley Field against Detroit, and it was really fun. Something I'll never forget. So the outdoor games are pretty special, and I think the NHL does an awesome job with them. And other people might feel differently, but I think it's something that no matter what it is, you always want to watch it. You're in a different stadium, and just the variables of, there's rain, there's snow, and it's fun to watch. So hopefully they continue to do it because I personally think it's great.
Yeah, Coach, you talk about the weather, the rain, the snow, and the ice conditions. I mean, the big thing that I guess is a concern for players is the ice surface. So as a player, and I'm sure you played outdoors many a times, not with the Zamboni, but the ice surface probably has to be one of those things that is on the minds of everybody. Can you tell the listeners how the rain and the snow affect that ice surface?
Well, obviously, first the visibility, as a player becomes a lot different. What you can actually see out there, players who wear visors, they start getting, blocked, and their vision gets very impaired. The ice slows down quite a bit. When you get a little bit of snow build up or even some wetness built up, just the feel, when you think about you're skating or you're sitting on the bench and you're getting wet, in a different way. Usually you're sweaty or whatever the case may be, but you feel rain falling on you or snow even coming on you, and it's a little bit different. But, but if you watch those games, and there are always some weather conditions, and it's definitely affected, but, some of the plays the players still make are unbelievable, and it just shows you how talented not only NHL players are, but all hockey players are in general. And I think from a casual fan standpoint, it actually might be more interesting when you see the snow falling or the rain, and you see the difficulty of it, or the difference of it. It's just the elements, and it's the elements that you have to play with, and it's something that baseball players sometimes play with, unless there's a rain delay, but they do play through the rain, or NFL plays through, some snowstorms or some rain. And, so when you get the hockey game out there with, on a regular basis, you don't have to play with those while the game's being indoors. It takes a whole new light, and it's fun to watch, for sure.
Yeah, definitely. So I want to switch over to the goaltenders. You talk about visibility. How impressive is it to watch the goaltenders in that outdoor game when they're playing that Winter Classic, Coach? I always think the goalies with that weather, they got the rain or the snow, and you're talking about visibility and the ice conditions. Not that they're bad indoors, but when they're outdoor, there's so many other intangibles that go into goalkeeping. How mentally tough do the goaltenders have to be?
Yeah, big time, and don't even forget, then you forget about the sun, and that's the funny thing, too, is you figure all the precipitation, but then you throw the sun in there, you see a lot of the players that wore the eye black underneath their eyes, like the baseball players do, or some football players do. Throw the sun in there, that becomes a big difference. It's incredible, and hockey's a difficult game as it is, and you start throwing that stuff in there, and it becomes a whole new animal. So, and that's why I think that it is special. They should continue to do it and hopefully do more of it because you see, a lot of people watch it. It gets good ratings, and this is a great game to watch, very exciting game to watch in general. And then you throw in that, and you throw that spotlight on it, and I think it's that much more magical.
Yeah, I love it. I love it as a fan. I love hockey in general, but that Winter Classic and those outdoor games, love them. I'd watch them every day. I know it's impossible to do it every day, but yes, like you, Coach, I wanted to just get your thoughts on that. But now let's move into the real good stuff, and it is a real great start coming into 2017 because your boys went out over the weekend and got 2 huge wins, literally just huge wins against Alaska. 5-1 and then a shutout. So give me your overall take on this weekend. The boys had a great weekend.
Yeah, we had a long layoff. We talked about it last week. It's been a while since we were able to play a game. So, coming into the week, being at home obviously helped. It was funny. They scored about a minute of the game. Just one of those, fluky little plays where we didn't take care of the puck a little bit, made a bad change. Next, it's 1-0. But then from there, it was pretty much, our weekend. And, I don't think we played perfect by any means. There's still a lot of things that we need to fix. We got a little too fancy at times. The puck tried to make plays that weren't there sometimes. But then the flip side of that, especially Friday night, we made some beautiful plays. I mean, some of those goals were highlight reel, really special goals. But I think we did a lot of things away from the puck. Played the right way for the most part to get rewarded. And then, we saw quickly in some of those games, if we stopped playing the right way, we found ourselves in trouble at times. But that's where Drew Hawk came up big. He was outstanding. If you look at it after letting the goal in the first minute or so, I mean, he shut the door the rest of the way for almost 119 minutes or whatever it was. So he was great. Donovan Ott picked up 2 goals in each game. He was outstanding. He was really, really strong in all facets of the game. I thought his play away from the puck was good. He was finishing his checks. He was doing all the little things. So obviously on paper he had a big weekend. A lot of guys chipped in. On the back end we had obviously you only give up 1 goal and you tip your hat to the goaltender, but I thought our defense played well. We had some guys that really stepped up. Some of our veteran D, Pilewicz, Bokun, big guy Young, and some of our young guys as well. Andy, Isle, Cattell. Right down the list. We played 7D all weekend. So Ed Herka, playing well as well. So really proud of the guys. Saturday we were able to pot a lot of goals in a row there. We had a weird play towards the end of the first period. The glass cracked, so rather than waiting on the benches for a while, they decided to send us to the locker room, and we rebounded and played the 2:46 prior to the start of the second period. So we basically, when the locker room came out for 2:46, then they were going to blow the whistle, and then very much start the second period right away. And in that 2:46, we were able to score 2 goals. And we talked about in the locker room how important that was. It could be a huge momentum swing. 'Cause at the time it was only 1-1. We took that to heart. We scored 2 goals, and then we scored an early one in the second, went up 4-1, and ultimately got the 5-1 on the empty netter late in the third. So, getting those goals was huge. And then coming into Saturday, we scored early. Sammy Selensky, beautiful pass from Roman Kramer, who was up playing with us for a couple games, and we held on. We had some penalty kills there where we found ourselves shorthanded numerous times. Right or wrong, we were shorthanded, and Drew came up big. Our penalty came up big, blocked a lot of shots. Then late in the third period, Donovan Ott scored the second goal to get us up 2-0, give us a little breathing room. Then he ended up scoring an empty netter. So, not picture perfect, but coming off of a huge long layoff out of Christmas break, at this time of year, any chance you can have to sweep a weekend, you're going to be happy about it. So that's in the past now, and now I'm going to get ready for Kenai coming in this weekend for 3, and it's going to be a tough battle for us.
Yeah, you got the 3 games set, and we'll talk about that in a little bit. But Coach, you look at this weekend, and you had mentioned not perfect by any means. Alaska is a pretty good team. You had mentioned it, especially when they play at home. Another passionate hockey base out there. But when you look at this game and all the contributions that go into it, with the long layoff, and looking at putting up 5 on Friday night, 3 on New Year's Eve, and we'll talk about that in a little bit. How impressed were you with the boys to come out and put 8 goals in the net after that layoff in the way that they played? It sounds like you have to be pretty happy about offensively and defensively. You killed the penalties, and that had been an Achilles heel early in the season. So it seems like, it may not have been perfect, but after a long layoff and to start the second half, you've got to think this is a great way to start.
Yeah, absolutely. I mean, anytime you can score 8 goals in 2 games, only give up 1, your chances of winning are probably pretty good. So it was a team effort. Like I said, there's some guys that on paper had some big weekends. There were some guys that did things that maybe didn't show up on the score sheet, but really appreciated by the coaches as well as their teammates. So that's what we're going to need. We're going to need team efforts all every time out. And kind of going back to the PK, it was one of those things that was hampering us a little bit. But I thought Friday, they scored to make it 1-0 early, and then they got two power plays right after that we killed off. And I think that actually gave us the momentum, and we fed some energy off of that. We were able to tie the game up not too long after. Chris Juba scored his first goal of his career in the NHL, which is a great play. And from there we kind of just took off. So there's all kinds of factors that go on and all kinds of things that go into the game. So I would say for the most part, it was a great team effort. A couple individual guys that put up some extra extra points, and obviously Drew playing really well between the pipes. But for the most part, it was a great team effort, and that's what we were getting, for the last few weeks here. And hopefully we can make that continue, because I think the guys understand that one night someone might be off, and you gotta be there to pick them up. And if you want that opportunity and you want that chance to get called upon to be a factor in the game, you got to be willing to do it, and you got to be willing to do whatever's asked of you from the team. And knock on wood, guys are feeling that right now.
Yeah, how impressive was Drew Hott this weekend, Coach? I mean, like you said, early goal on Friday, and then he basically shut the door the rest of the way on Friday, and then went out on Saturday and threw up the shutout. 32 saves in all on New Year's Eve. Was he just in the zone all weekend?
Yeah, he was in complete control. He looked really confident in there. He ate up pucks really nicely. Didn't give up many second opportunities, and if he did, he made the second and third save, or our defensemen were there to clear it out. He anticipated the game well. He also slowed the game down well when he needed to. Froze the puck in our own zone if we needed a whistle, or he made a couple plays where he came out of the net and put the puck back in transition for us. So Drew's a veteran. He's a very very strong-willed kid, very high character, very prepared, very very mellow, very low key, kind of the way you need to be, where he's just focused all the time. And it's something that I think him and Vinny as well. A young kid that's learning from Drew, but coming into his own as well. It's one of those things where I think the team, I guess feeds off of their confidence in the net, and Drew has a demeanor about him, and I think the guys, understand that, he's prepared and he's ready to go, so, we got to do our job as well.
Yeah, Coach, you got a Pittsburgh Penguin dilemma. You got goaltending issues that are good issues. Who do you play? I mean, you talk about Vinny, you talk about Drew, and these guys are it seems like they're playing really good hockey right now. It's got to be tough as a coach to decide the ice time between those two goalies when they're playing so well.
It's hard to decide ice time between anybody really. It's one of those things where when you have a healthy lineup, a healthy roster, which is what you want clearly. You have some tough decisions, but those are the decisions that you want. You want to have tough decisions. You don't want to say, okay, well, obviously we'll just go this route because it's easy. There's a lot of things that go into it. It's not always, okay, this is set in stone, and for the next 4 weeks, this is how we're going to go. It's a lot of things that play into it. We look into a lot of angles as far as everything goes. And, in the net, we want that. We want to have two guys that we can rely on no matter what happens. I mean, you just look back at our last game before Christmas break, Drew had started the game. In the first period, he wasn't feeling great, so we basically go in the locker room and tell Vinny he's going in. Cold, didn't play the day before, and he goes right in there in second and third period and was outstanding and finishes the shutout. So those are the things that you have to have, and you got to have two kids that are pulling for each other. They're challenging each other. I mean, obviously they both want the net, and it's a good tandem, and they get along well off the ice. And like I said, Drew has a little more veteran stature. He's been around juniors for a little longer. Vinny's a rookie, so it's a good combination, of guys to learn. Drew can learn from Vinny, and then Drew can get, Vinny can learn from Drew. So it's a good situation, and we just hope we want it to continue. And like we talk about, we want everybody to do something for this club, and they may chip in wherever the case may be. Be ready to do it, and that's what we have to do here.
Sounds good, Coach. Now, New Year's Eve, 3,700 fans in the War Memorial. How electric was the memorial that night?
It was big. The night before, the number didn't, I guess, on paper wasn't as high as it seemed. It seemed it was a bigger crowd than maybe what was reported there, but maybe it was just the energy, in the building was pretty high, a lot of excitement, loud crowd. And then New Year's Eve, it's one of those things where you kind of anticipate it always being a sellout, but then you get out there and you see it, and you really can tell in warm-ups. That's when you know if the crowd being a lot different, because it's a lot bigger crowd in warm-ups, right away, so you can kind of anticipate what the size of the crowd is going to be. And you looked around and there were, no empty seats really, and a lot of energy. We got that early goal, and the pace of the game was was real high, real fast. Both teams were up and down, making some plays. We got that early goal, and the crowd was into it pretty quickly. And then, unfortunately, you get in that special teams where we were killing a lot. It slows the game down a little bit, puts us in a little bit more retreat mode. So, sometimes that can suck the energy out of the building a little bit. Not anything intentional, just the way it happens sometimes because it's constant whistles and it's slowing the game down. So, the second half of the first and in the second, it was a little bit lighter, and then we got in the third, and we got some play going, and obviously that late second goal really re-energized the crowd a lot, and we just we love the support. The guys, these kids can't think of anything better than to play in front of a sold-out crowd at home, and so it's a really special environment, and we just got to make sure we keep doing what we can to find success and hopefully bring these big crowds every night.
Yeah, well, you got a lot of them. You got a lot of them this spring. Mike and I will talk about the promotions coming up. I'm not sure if Adam joined us yet. I didn't hear a beep. Did you, Coach?
I don't know. If he's
Adam, are you here?
I'm here.
Oh, right. Well, I didn't hear the beep. You kind of snuck in like the wind. So it is great to have you on the show, Adam. Congratulations on the 2 big wins this weekend. I'm not sure how much you heard, but I'll get right to it. As a player, how exciting is it to see 3,700 fans during the game, and how does that help your energy as a player when you're out there on the ice?
It's awesome. It's something you kind of dream about as a kid, playing in front of a big crowd like that. And then whenever you kind of see it for the first time, kind of takes you back. Sometimes there are jitters or something, but whenever the game starts to get going, you realize the fans are really on your side. It kind of builds the energy.
Yeah, I can imagine. So, you know what, Adam? You come in defender, and I look at the stats, and I see all these big names up there. I see Dalton Hunter, Donovan Ott, Phillips Bunches, and then right there, I see Adam Pilewicz, defender, leading all defenders on the Johnstown Tomahawks with 17 points. I think the more impressive thing is, though, I went over and looked at the number of shots. You're getting a lot of opportunity. So can you give the listeners a little idea of how you're creating opportunity for yourself? 59 shots, and that's a lot of shots for a defender, and you've also chipped in with 17 points. How are you creating opportunities on the ice?
I'm just trying to keep my game simple, not trying to do too much, just kind of get the puck up to the forwards and let them kind of do their thing, and then they kind of create a lot in the offensive zone and help out the defense even. They draw the defenders towards them and then move it out to the D, which kind of gives you a lane there, which is what you want.
Yeah, definitely. I know Coach and I talked about this earlier, and earlier in the season, Adam, you guys were struggling a little bit on the penalty kill. And, Coach, I'm going to knock on wood because you did very well on the penalty kill this weekend. But, Adam, as a defender, when you're out there, how do you have to change your game mentally when you're playing shorthanded?
You just want to outwork the other guys. I think that's the biggest thing. And that's the big difference between, I think, the beginning of the year and now. In the beginning of the year, we were just kind of running around, not really playing as a team. But now we're kind of all selling out and blocking a lot of shots, and I think that helps the goalies out a lot, and it gives us confidence moving forward.
Yeah, I can imagine. Blocking shots, you guys are crazy, to be honest. Coach, I remember I told you the story. I got off the ice when the puck started flying at my head as a goalie, and now you got your guys out there blocking shots. So, Adam, I want you to let the listeners know that has to be just a total mindset from your part, knowing that you're going to get a blazing puck into your body, but you have to give it up sometimes to block shots. How important is it as a defender to do that?
It's very important. I think more than even just blocking the shot and keeping them from getting a shot on net, it gets the guys, kind of going, and they understand that you're there for them and you got their back, and I think that's big for momentum and everything, and it helps the goalie as well.
Yeah, well, what about your goalie? I mean, you got a good situation. You got Vinny back there, you got Drew back there. I know that defenders and goalies probably have a little special bond. So when you're back there and you know that you get beat one time, how confident are you in these two guys, in Vinny and Drew?
I'm extremely confident in both of them. I thought I knew when Drew got here he was going to be a top guy. It was clear after spending last year in the USHL. And then Vinny, coming in, had never seen him play before training camp, but he's come in and he's done extremely well for us. Even starting in Minnesota at the beginning of the year, whenever it was just him and Britt, they were both playing really well, and Vinny's kind of kept that momentum going. It's great.
Well, I don't want you to incriminate yourself here because Coach is on the line, but as a former athlete and a defender in soccer, when you know you have a good, solid goalie behind you, does it allow you to take some more chances that you might not normally take when you have a shaky goaltender?
Absolutely. That all comes with confidence. You having confidence in your teammates, even having confidence in your other defensive partner to kind of have your back. But for sure, having two goalies back there that are going to try and do everything they can to bail you out, it's great. And then they know the same goes for us. We'll always have their back.
Yeah, definitely. So Adam, I'm going to get off hockey a little bit. I asked Coach in the beginning. You're my first guest in 2017. What's your New Year's resolution?
Just kind of trying to live a healthier lifestyle.
Oh, Coach, you gave the generic answer, Coach.
Really focus on my diet here because these next couple of months are really big for keeping your energy up and not trying to get too fatigued. So.
Yeah, well, I'll tell you what, Adam, you guys got a lot of home games coming up, and I ask all the guys, how do you had a lot of big road stretch in the beginning of the season. What does it do for your confidence and your psyche to just have so many home games here in the second half of the season?
Well, it's great. You get to. It's a different feeling waking up in your own bed every morning, and I definitely enjoy playing in front of the crowds here, and I think most of the guys do too. And it does a lot for our fatigue level as well. I could see it at the end of our really long road trip there that some of the guys were starting to feel a little winded out there. So the fact that we're not on a bus every weekend is going to go a long way.
Sure, definitely. Well, Coach, I've got the timekeeper, Mike Gosnow, telling me I've got to try to keep this podcast within a certain amount of time. So quickly, Coach, give me a quick assessment. Give the listeners a quick assessment of Adam's game.
Adam this year is first and foremost came in here as a big-time leader. It's his second year in our club, and he's one of our captains. Right from the get-go, first day, he established himself as a leader for us. He's a kid that does whatever it takes to improve his game. I mean, and it's not a cliche, but he's grabbing the pucks. He's the first guy looking to get on the ice and work on anything he can. He'll always stay out afterwards and work on everything he possibly can to improve his game. So as a coach, you appreciate that, because it's going to rub off on not only the younger players but the other players as well. And this season, in my opinion, he's taken his game to a new level. He was good for us as a rookie last year, but it's a tough league to come into as a first-year guy. And we had a veteran group last year, so he had his learning curve early and he settled himself in last year. But I think his game is really rounded out this year as we've given him more responsibility. He's ran with it and flourished with it, and he plays in all critical situations for us, plays in our special teams. And I think what Adam said earlier about letting the game come to him, I think that's where his biggest improvements have been. Sometimes it's one of those things where these kids, and not just defensemen or forwards or whatever the case may be, is they overcompensate, or they push a little bit too much to get things, whether it's not necessarily stats, but just instead of keeping the game simple, letting the game come to him, and you can see what happens. And I think in Adam's case, he's done that really well this year, and he's gotten his points as a defenseman. I mean, 17 points or 18 points every has D-man is pretty good. I mean, that's in 30 games. It's almost just under, really it's just under a point a game. It's over half a point a game. So for his defenseman, that's pretty strong. He's a plus 18, which is fantastic, obviously. So he's done a really nice job for us on and off the ice, and we're going to look for him, especially in the second half, to get even better and really lead the way for us.
Yeah, you led right into where I'm going to go, Coach. Adam, I'm going to have two more questions for you, then we're going to wrap up our show. But if I'm an opposing coach and I'm looking at film and I'm looking at games, give me, from your standpoint, what's the very strong thing that Adam brings to the ice? And then on the flip side, where do you need to see the biggest improvement in your game over the course of the second half of the season?
I think for Adam, when they're going to come in and they're going to see a kid, he's going to be a kid that's going to be a tough defender every night. He's going to be in your face. He's going to battle. He's going to play with a lot of passion. He's going to be a guy that you're going to have to respect offensively as well. Like he said, he's able to get the pucks up to the forwards, get them going in transition, and activate as a defenseman into the rush a little bit. Also from up top, one of the things that Adam's really worked on a lot lately is getting a shot to the net. We get pucks up to the point. We want to make sure pucks are getting down to the net or down below the goal line where we can maintain possession. And, usually Adam has a hard shot, heavy shot, accurate. He can put pucks in the net. So when pucks are going on in the net from him, typically good things are happening, And the other thing is he's pretty good in the shootouts. He's got our shootout win this year, or last year he had a big one. So, from a defenseman standpoint, he's one of the guys that we're not shy to use in the shootouts. So, obviously, if we ever get in one of those, he's a guy we like to use. But, for him, it's one of those things where it's going to be, like he said, just really taking care of himself, because this is going to be a grind. He learned it last year as a rookie. We got 30 games left in the regular season, and we're anticipating what we want to be a very long, successful playoff run. So, for his sake, he's got to make sure he's doing everything he can off the ice. It's equally as important on the ice. So eating right, getting good rest, proper hydration, proper nutrition, extra maintenance workouts or recovery workouts or therapy, taking care of himself. And that goes for everybody across the board, because it's a grind, and these guys take a beating on their bodies day in and day out in practice and in games. So, for him, we want him to be a guy that we can rely on every night. We want to make sure his body's in the best shape it possibly can be, so he can do that.
All right. So, Adam, I heard you're still on the line there, so I'm going to end this way, Adam. You're a defender, so let's have a little bit of fun. Would you rather have a bone-crushing check into the wall, or would you rather score a one-timer slap shot goal?
I'm not the most physical guy, but I throw my weight around sometimes. But, I grew up a forward, so scoring goals has always been pretty pretty awesome. So, it's honestly whatever helps the team. I think our team has a mentality that we're going to do whatever we can to win, and I think that's huge for us.
Well, I'll tell you what, Adam, it's been a pleasure having you on the show. I know you guys got a tough 3-game series this weekend, but I wish you guys the best of luck. Coach, thanks for coming on the show today.
Anytime. Happy to be here, Troy. We'll talk to you next week, buddy.
All right, Adam. Good luck this weekend, bud.
Thank you. Thanks for having me.
It is time for me to welcome in Communications Manager Mike Gosnell to the show. Mike, how are you doing today?
Good. It's a little rainy out here in Johnstown, but other than that, we're getting ready for another 3-game homestand.
Yeah, big one, and I talked to Coach about that. 3 games, that's a tough weekend, but it could be a very valuable weekend. The guys had a great end to 2016 with 2 wins over Alaska, so exciting times. And I read your press release, 3,700 fans on New Year's Eve, Mike. That was a good crowd.
Yeah, it's a tradition. Like I said before, it's a tradition here in Johnstown. We expected nothing less, and the fans went home happy. They had a great time, and it helps when the team's playing as well as they are, and, we're 8 straight wins, hoping to extend that a little longer than 8 this coming weekend.
Yeah, they had, like I said, good weekend against Alaska. Got a couple very valuable points. And, a lot of home games coming up. So I know that you had some festivities over New Year's Eve. But before I get into that, it is the new year. Got to ask, Mike, are you a New Year's resolution guy? Did you make a resolution for the new year?
I'm not really big into that. But, if I had to pick one, I'd probably be, keep the stress out, keep stress levels low, don't take things as seriously, and that can lead to a healthier life. So, I'm not really big into New Year's resolutions because no one keeps them anyway. It's very, very few and far between. But, if I had to make one, that would be it.
Yeah, the other show I do, the Red Light Sports Ramble, my co-host is a big fitness guy, and he always says that you're going to make your New Year's resolution to get in shape, and you're going to get a gym membership, and that lasts all about a week, and that's about the truth. My New Year's resolution, Mike, it stems from our conversation last week, and that is I am going to make it down to Johnstown 4 games. That's what I'm going to do here. For the games, I'm going to make it down to Johnstown. So I am not going to break my New Year's resolution. I will be in Johnstown shortly. I'm not sure when, but I will be shortly. How does that sound?
That sounds good. We're about time you to come down.
Yeah, so I know we got a lot of promotions coming up here in the spring, a lot of home games. So give the fans a little taste of what's coming up, how they can come out and see the boys.
Yeah, I mean, we have those 3 games coming up against Kenai River starting Friday. Cheerleading night, local cheerleading teams will be on hand to help cheer on the Hawks. Saturday's first responder night, always well received. We're honoring local first responders, police, fire, EMS services, and then Sunday the 8th is a unique promotion, Undie Sunday. It's benefiting a Children's Tumor Foundation. It's in partnership with the Cupid's Undie Run as well. Fans are encouraged to bring packages of new and unused underwear to throw onto the ice, kind of like teddy bear toss, after we score our first goal. And those packages of underwear will be donated to kids in need, and the proceeds will benefit Children's Tumor Foundation. I'm not going to attempt to pronounce the disorder that is with Children's Tumor Foundation. It's called NF, so if you want to Google that. But we've been doing it for the past 3 years. Always a good turnout for that one. That is Undie Sunday. That's a 3 o'clock start here at the War Memorial.
I think people like to throw stuff on the ice, Mike. I really do.
I think so.
I think they just like to throw things on the ice. But another good cause. And, again, it goes back to what the Johnstown Tomahawks do, very, very involved in the community, and have to enjoy all of those promotions that are going on. So it should be a good weekend, and, looking forward to that. So I have a question for you, Mike. As a communications manager, a three-game homestand, what does that do for the organization? Is it tougher on you guys? Is it exciting time because you got 3 games at home? You mentioned reducing the stress level a little bit, but 3 games this weekend, is it a little more stressful for you, or is it more exciting?
Well, it only becomes stressful for me when I'm not prepared, and that, you're never prepared for everything, but, I like to get my work done ahead of time, so I always like watching free hockey, and that helps a little bit. But 3 games, I've done it before. It's, it's the things that come up and surprise you, the unexpected problems. That's what really bites you in the behind. But no, I'm excited for it. We have a long homestand. Fans will come out and see us, and hopefully we'll continue winning some games. That always helps us, sell the team into the town and get tickets sold. So.
Yeah, well, I'm going to tell you, these guys are off. They're on a great streak right now. They're starting off the year really well. So, Mike, I'm going to switch over to the NHL. Coach and I talked about the NHL in an outdoor game. So I know it's probably not ever going to happen in the NAHL. But, I was thinking after talking to Coach today, wouldn't it be cool if the Johnstown Tomahawks had an outdoor game? But it probably won't happen in the NHL. But what do you think of the NHL doing the outdoor game? You like it, dislike it, enjoy watching? What are your thoughts on the outdoor game?
I like it, but I think they overdo it. I think there's too many in one season. I think if you stick with the one like they did before, I think that'd be better. But, it's all about the money. So, I like it. I like the concept of it, and I think the fans love it too. But I think, I think they're doing too many of them.
Well, I'll tell you, Coach thinks there should be more. Coach thinks every city should have one of those, and I look at it from this standpoint, Mike. One is good, but I don't think you get many fans to keep going to a lot of those games. So I'm sure people enjoy watching hockey in the lovely confines of an arena, especially the War Memorial Arena. So got a big homestand. I hope people come out, support the team, and just keep this thing rolling. They're on a roll right now, and the guys came back from break. 8 goals, and Drew Hott was just unbelievable this weekend. 1 goal, and he let that one up early. So You know, he's playing well. The team's playing well, and if you don't have anything to do this weekend, you got 3 chances to come out and see the Tomahawks. Anything else for the listeners today, Mike?
Just going off of what you said, you know, we feed off the crowd energy, not only the players but the staff as well. So we always look forward to a packed building. Hopefully the fans can come out and see us this weekend and, you know, ring in the new year right. And if not, of course, we have plenty of opportunities left in the month of January. But we'll see you this weekend at the War Memorial.
All right. Thanks, Mike. I'll talk to you next week.
Thank you, Troy. Have a good night.
Well, folks, the music has started. The horn has sounded. That means another episode of Hawkey Central is in the books. Hope you enjoyed the show today. Make sure you head on down to the War Memorial this weekend to watch your Johnstown Tomahawks. Go Hawks!